Hello guys and welcome back to the Traitors US, and today we are going to be talking about a very unique episode of the Traitors in which there was no round table. Now I'm going to talk about my thoughts and feelings on that a little bit later in the episode, but I have a feeling there is a very genuine and authentic, maybe not authentic reason why they decided not to have a round table here. So, before we get into that, we have to start with some bad choices. So, join me guys. Let's get into the video, shall we? I don't know who decided it would be a good idea, but, well, actually, I know exactly who it is. Parvati decided to recruit Peter. Now, there are multiple reasons why this is a really, really bad idea for Parvati's game. First of all, Peter could reject the offer, which he did, but I'll get into why that was a bad one a little bit later. The second option is he accepts, he comes in, and he still goes hard for you, and you go home in the next round table. Again, it's just a little bit dodgy. Or it's almost as if you bring him in, this is the third option, he accepts, he stops targeting you, and then he looks suspicious, and then you look suspicious, and then you both leave, which is just ridiculous. So why did Peter saying no cause a lot of issues? It is because of the whole... It's because basically he is now going to use that information against her. He doesn't know who has recruited him, but he does believe in his heart of hearts that Parvati is in fact a traitor. And so nothing that she does is going to dispel him from that. So therefore, him being brought into the traitors doesn't add any value whatsoever, and him saying no has just left them without a murder. They're now on the back foot. I don't know what Phaedra is trying to do on this show, but allowing her fellow traitors to run the show is actually ruining her chances of making it to the final. I'm really sorry, but Phaedra is actually not as good a traitor as I expected her to be. This whole show, I'm rooting for a group of faithfuls, and I will get into that in a little bit. So, at breakfast, Parvati is ready to fight the fight that she needs to fight. But interestingly, Peter decides not to tell everyone that he was secretly recruited last night and that he rejected it. I found this a very interesting gameplay decision, because if that gets found out, it's going to look bad on his part. Like, there's no part of this game in which him keeping a recruitment secret is not going to end up in a poor position for him. I'm sorry, that's just how I feel about it, because at the moment, in this current position, he has the most information out of everyone. He has the information that the reason why something didn't happen last night is because I got the recruitment and I didn't take it, whereas people are under the impression that someone did take it and therefore there's another traitor in the mix. But obviously, it's been 2 nights and there's been no murders. What's happening? First, we try and kill Bergie. That didn't go very well. He had the shield. I wish Dan would have listened. And now Dan's gone home. Now, Phaedra, no, Parvati, has tried to recruit Dan, no, Peter. God, all their names are really confusing me. Peter, and it's backfired because once again, no progress has been made on the traitor's part. 2 episodes in a row. It's taking the piss now. It's not okay. Oh, God. And now, it's just gearing up for Parvati versus Peter. That's the whole setup for this episode, is just, yeah, sure, Parvati versus Peter. Let's go. So, there are currently 3 groups of people in this game. You've got the Traitors, Phaedra and Parvati. You've got the Faithful Alliance, which is Peter, Trishelle, John, Bergie, Kevin. Those 5. Then you've got the Leftovers, CT, Kate, Sandra, MJ. I'm sure I've forgotten some names in there. But either way, the point still stands. Sheree is also in there. Those people are left out of the Faithful Alliance, but they're also not part of the Traitors. So we've got 3 groups. And currently, it almost seems like the Traitors and the Leftovers are kind of merging and mixing and being as one. It's an interesting position to be in, because I'm not being funny, I really didn't expect the Faithfuls to start targeting one another on purpose. That's what I was really shocked about. This whole episode really felt like we were gearing up to send Peter home. To send Peter home at the round table, which, I'm going to be 100% honest, would have been fantastic. Peter, as much as he's an incredible game player, he is running the show and he's running it a little bit too smoothly. I need something to happen to muck up his game, because he is playing it so well, so incredibly well, and he doesn't deserve it. I'll be 100% honest. But anyway, it is what it is. Obviously, you've also got Trishelle. Now, Trishelle is very, very dead set on the fact that she believes the traitor is Phaedra rather than Parvati. So I don't think we've ever been at a position in episode 7 of a series where every single one of the traitors has been somewhat exposed. And like someone is 100% it's them for every single one of them. That is absolutely wild to me. And that, I think that just goes to show how poor a game these traitors have played. Is Phaedra a brilliant speaker around the round table? Yes. But is she a good traitor? I don't know. That is up for discussion. I will definitely discuss it as I see sort of more of her gameplay throughout the show. But currently, I'm not impressed with her taking the back seat. When Sari did it, it worked out because she still had a modicum of control over what was happening and what was going on. But now, it just feels like Phaedra's completely lost control and she's just letting the traitors crash and burn. Interestingly, Sandra is actually using survivor tactics. So her survivor background is coming in handy here, because she's working out, okay, well, if we take us 7 against those 5, we can immediately take out Peter. And I was like, when you put it like that, it does come down to 2 different tribes and who's going to vote each other out first. And do the faithful on the side of the leftovers take the chance of getting rid of some of the others? Because they know that that's a tight 5. If they can't pick off those 5, they're going to take it and they're going to win all of the money themselves by just picking off the people on the leftover side until they find the traitor. And it's not going to work out in their favour. It's a brilliant idea. Well done, Sandra. As much as you're really leading them in the wrong direction, because obviously you've literally got 2 traitors on your side, I still appreciate the gameplay strategy. I feel like it's an interesting one. So, in this episode, we had the trap challenge. If you don't remember this one from UK2, it's where they had to run into the woods, which everyone always forgets the name of. And then they have to choose a path, grab a scroll, and either get caught in a trap or proceed on to the next question. Every single time I watch this, it makes me chuckle, because if they just sat there and actually thought about the questions, they'd be able to work it out. But instead, they go for the most obvious answer, or they go for like a random answer, and it just doesn't work out in their favour, sadly. So, obviously, on the first question, Bergie and Peter were already instantly out. And it was like, oh God, guys, come on, you failed at the first hurdle. Then we had CT, Sheree, and MJ falling on question 2. Then we had Trishelle, Kate, and Phaedra falling on question 3. And actually, Sandra and Kevin, and Parvati and John really smashed their questions. They made it all the way to the end. So as much as they only won, what, like 7k? Not even that. They actually did do a good job. And because Kevin and Sandra were the quickest, they won some shields. So yeah, I was impressed with this. I really enjoyed the trap challenge. I think it's absolutely hysterical. And yeah, it was really entertaining. And once again, it just goes to show sometimes you need brains in this game. It's not just a physical challenge when it comes to the competitions. The round table did not happen this episode. Why did it not happen this episode? Because they decided to take them into the woods and play a little game. Now, at first I was a little bit frustrated. I was like, why is there no round table? This is frustrating. Why are you changing the whole thing, the whole format of the show just for this extra twist? But I feel like the twist worked well. I do, however, feel like the twist was only added as a last minute thing because they were worried about the fact that going into episode 8, Phaedra's already been called out, Parvati's already been called out, and they could be, by episode 9, no traitors left and the game's over. So I feel like this was added in to give Parvati and Phaedra a stay of execution, which is a little bit producer meddling, but I don't mind. It was still good drama at the end of the day. So, why are they in the forest? Why are they standing around? Well, as Kevin and Sandra won the shield in today's challenge, they could start off a chain reaction of other shields being given out. Essentially, only 5 people would be eligible for murder tonight, which I find interesting. I find that it's a similar twist to how UK2 had the dungeon challenge where 4 people were put in and one of them was going to be murdered. Whereas this is more chaotic and also damaging to psyches and things like that. Because not only are you standing there begging for your life for a shield, but you're also at the mercy of whoever was picked before you, which I find fascinating. So, Kevin and Sandra decided to first save Sheree. I find that very interesting. I didn't realise that there was a connection there, but clearly there is. Sheree then chose to save Phaedra. That was a guaranteed choice, but I felt like Phaedra really sold the "oh, thank you" side of that whole thing. It really made her emotional. It made her a little bit choked up, crying, all the works. But it felt authentic. And that's because it was coming from a place of, I've known Sheree for X many years, and I'm really grateful that she saved me, or that she would pick me. Not that she'd save me, but she would pick me as her first choice. That was what was really lovely. Yeah, this is where it got a little bit dark and deep, because then Phaedra, what is it with me and mixing up names today? Phaedra decided to save CT. Now, Parvati thought that Phaedra might save her, but I don't think that Phaedra's that stupid. If Phaedra is giving a shield to Parvati, knowing full well that the entire group believes she's a traitor, I think that's going to make her look suspicious. I felt like Parvati wasn't really thinking about the bigger picture here. It did feel a little bit desperate. It did feel like she was just trying to save her own skin. But also, you can't blame a girl for trying. Do you know what I mean? So, that happened. Then CT was given the impossible decision. Does he go with his head or does he go with his heart? He was going to choose between Trishelle and John. The reason why he was going to choose between Trishelle and John is because Trishelle is obviously someone he has a good connection with, is close with, and feels a bond with, because obviously they've competed together numerous times on the challenge. Is that what it's called? I don't know. Anyway, so I found that was interesting, but then his head was saying, no, go for John. John is more of an asset to the faithful than Trishelle is, and therefore we should keep John because his line of work, or the job he's done, will allow him to catch a traitor. I think this was a little bit of a messed up situation, because I feel like if CT hadn't have saved John and John did not have a shield, I think John would have been the target for murder. So saving John there kept him in the game. I don't think they know that. I don't think even Phaedra and Parvati had really thought that far ahead. But I do believe that in my heart of hearts. So then it comes down to the final choice. John, who does he pick? Does he pick Peter, or does he pick Trishelle? Ooh, Trishelle is at this point begging for her life, and Peter's like, just do what you gotta do. And John actually does choose Peter. Peter knew he was going to get murdered if he did not have this shield, and I think that he chose the right decision personally. So obviously afterwards, everyone who didn't receive a shield is kind of upset with the people who didn't pick them. It's not nice not to be picked. It's one of those things, but it's not the end of the world. It is what it is. But that does bring us to Traitor's Tower. And Traitor's Tower was an interesting one for this episode, I have to say. I wasn't expecting it to be as interesting as it was. But it did raise some very, very interesting questions, such as, who are they going to murder? The choices came down basically to MJ, Trishelle, or Bergie. They didn't even consider killing off Kate, because they were saying something along the lines of like, oh, Kate would be a fantastic person to coerce into the traitors and recruit, and we don't want to kill her off at this point, which I agree with. I think Kate would make a fantastic traitor. So, MJ, Trishelle, or Bergie. There are pros and cons to each of them. MJ, she's never going to actually get banished, so what's the point in keeping her around? Trishelle, a dangerous threat to the group. It isn't ideal, but it would be best to get rid of her. Or Bergie, Peter's right-hand man. If you want to get to Peter, take out Bernie. Bergie. It's a tough one, but we're going to have to wait until next episode to find out. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Keep on ranting, and I will see you guys later. Bye now.